Hello everyone. So today we're going to be working through a textbook question from the Haese book. You can find it in chapter 10C.1 and it's question 5C. So I'm going to outline the steps I've done in the previous videos on trigonometry to clarify how to solve these equations, solve these problems in a logical order. So our first step is to always draw and then label the triangle. Now, I'm going to do this nice and big so we can see it really clearly, which I suggest that you do as well. And I'm also going to take care to do it in the exact same orientation that I'm seeing it in the textbook. Because if you do it in a different orientation, it's easy to do a carry-on error and to make a mistake as a result of just a silly error, which is what we want to avoid. So we've now put our sides and our angle in, and now we are up to our labeling step. So we've got our adjacent sides, opposite side, and hypotenuse that we now need to label. So I always do the opposite side first. It's always opposite to the angle, so I illustrate that with an arrow. The hypotenuse is our longest side, which is easy to work out. And our adjacent side is the one left over. So now that we've drawn and labelled our triangle, our next step is to choose our equation. So we need to choose between SOH CAH TOA. So just take note, we are not going to choose two unknowns. We're not going to choose y and x because we cannot solve them at the same time. So I don't want to see sine 42 equals, I don't want to see cosine 42 equals x over y. So don't do this. Instead, you need to choose one known and one unknown. So right below here, choose one known and one unknown. Now, an example of this is 9.7 and x, or 9.7 and y. So you've only got two choices. So essentially you need to go, what are you going to do first? Are you going to solve x first, or are you going to solve y first? So you can think of this as, this is step 1, and then this is step 2, because you're going to do both of these equations. So let's focus first on 1. So 9.7 and x is our opposite and adjacent side. So this is going to be this one here. Let's just double check that. 9.7 is our opposite side. X is our adjacent side. So it's going to be tan. Therefore, tan angle, which is 42, equals opposite, which is 9.7, divided by the adjacent side, which is x. We want to get x by itself, so our first inverse operation step is to multiply both sides by x, because this allows us to cancel out x on this side to get x on the other side. We now want to get rid of tan 42. So to get rid of tan 42, we are going to divide it by both sides. Because this allows us to cross these out so that we just get x equals 9.7 over tan 42. I just want to quickly clarify that this is our inverse operation principle in action. So whatever you do to the left-hand side or the right-hand side, you must do to the opposite side. So if you multiply on this side by, in the previous case, x, you must multiply on the other side by x. If you divide on the right-hand side by tan 42, you must do it on the left-hand side. So whatever you do to each side, you can do it, so as long as you do it to the opposite side as well. So now that we've established that, and that our inverse operations to get rid of something are multiplication and division. So if we have divided by x, 9.7 divided by x, we're multiplying it by x to cancel it out. So I'll just write here cancels out. So, or if we have it the other way round, let's say x divided by 9.7, if we the other example is this one. X tan 42. If we divide it by tan 42, that allows us to cross this out, because by dividing, we cancel out this multiplication. So now that we've established that, let's just quickly punch this into our calculator and get our answer. So 9.7 divided by tan 42 is 8.73 centimeters in 3 significant figures. Now we're going to do our other equation. So we're now going to focus on 9.7 and y. So this is our opposite and hypotenuse sides, which are our sine equation. So before we did our tan equation, now we're doing our sine equation. So we're going to go sine angle 42 equals opposite, which is our 9.7 centimeters, divided by our hypotenuse, which is y. So our first step is to isolate y by itself, and the first step of that is multiplying both sides by y, and as a result we can cancel these out because multiplication and division are inverse operators, and as a result we now have y on our left hand side. So that is step 1. The second step is to get rid of sine 42. So the inverse operation of multiplication, once again, is division. So this little multiplication here is the one we're using to cancel this out via division. We then get our answer, y equals 9.7 divided by sine 42, which we can easily calculate. We then get 9.7 divided by sine 42, which equals 14.5 centimeters. Always writing your units, once again, in 3 significant figures. We then want to label our triangle. We could do this again to just illustrate that we have solved the equation. So we have our right angle here, 42 degrees. We've worked out that y equals 14.5 centimeters and that x equals 8.73 centimeters, and our known side was 9.7 centimeters. Now our last check is, let's see, what step is this? Step We'll call this 5 logic check. So the point of this step is to check that it makes sense. So we know that the hypotenuse is our longest side. So are both the sides smaller? We expect that this side here will be a bit longer, 9.7, and this side here will be a bit shorter, 8.7. It makes sense. That is our answer. Hopefully that helps everyone.